My name is Fotis Sotiropoulos, and I'm the Dean of the College of Engineering and Applied Sciences at Stony Brook University. It has been said that the enduring recipe for creativity is combining science, technology, art, humanities, and imagination. And this is exactly what we strive to accomplish when we first launched SBU Hacks 2 years ago, to provide a forum within which the potential of brilliant young minds across various disciplines, genders, and backgrounds can be unleashed by coming together to engage in innovation. So I am thrilled that SBU Hacks is growing by leaps and bounds each year, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to extend a warm welcome to all of you hackers, innovators, and entrepreneurs in the making. Welcome to SBU Hacks 2020. Have fun and hack on.
Hi, my name is David Schiffer. I'm today's representative of the Schiffer Family Foundation sponsoring SBU Hacks. Stony Brook really has been the foundation of our family. I graduated in 1968 with a degree in mathematics, went to Hunter College, got a master's degree in mathematics 1970, and came back to Stony Brook and got a master's in computer science 1972. I met my wife Linda here in 1965. A few months ago, we celebrated our 51st anniversary. Her younger sister Carol came 2 years later. She met her husband Jerry here, and Jerry's older brother David was also a classmate of mine. Several decades later, my daughter Taryn came to PA school here, and she met her husband Ryan, who was also a PA, and currently has a firm that places PAs in several hospitals around Long Island, including Stony Brook. So I've attended many events over the past 50 years at Stony Brook, and I thought it'd be interesting just to take a quick look at the Stony Brook experience and a walk down memory lane. And then we'll get into the hackathon. Okay, and before we start discussing the Brook experience, I'm going to spend a few minutes living through the years from 64 until the present. Just want to mention that our foundation's already been involved with Stony Brook. In April, at the height of the pandemic, we ordered several thousand face shields for healthcare workers and donated them to 4 different hospitals on Long Island, and including one that you see here was several hundred shields that we sent to Stony Brook University. Okay, now we'll get into the Brook experience. So this is one of our early logos that you see from when I entered Stony Brook in 1964. We didn't have too many buildings. This is the original Herman Melville Library, which has now been surrounded by the new library. A few other buildings, G dorm, H dorm. We had, of course, a gymnasium and a few academic buildings. One of the big jokes on campus was the second year they built a bridge to nowhere that came out of the library and went to absolutely nowhere, which would now run into what would be known as the Student Center. 64, I also was a member of the varsity team. We were Division III, so freshmen could play on the varsity. And this was our varsity team, and Coach Herb Brown is way on the right. Lenny Ginsberg, assistant coach there. Next photo shows myself and Herb Brown with Pitagorski, who was our center. An interesting fellow, Jeff K. Gell, who is now a famous chanter. His name is Krishna Das. So it's just interesting to see how some of our fellow alum have what they've become over the years and what careers they've chosen. Then during our undergraduate years, the C.N. Yang Theoretical Institute was founded, and in case you don't know, C.N. Yang was a Nobel laureate, and he was the big name on campus to have gotten back then a Nobel laureate to teach physics and to open a full institution. 1970 was the first year of the computer science department, and here's just an image of an IBM mainframe. Of course, at school we never saw the mainframe. It was locked up in the computer lab, but what we did is the way we communicated with the computer those days was through a punch card or a Hollerith card. Each one of these cards was one line of code, and here's a punch card machine that we typed in the cards. And then the interesting thing was we'd go back the next day to get our jobs on large green and white striped paper. There were several bookshelves, and each shelf had a letter of the alphabet in order, and the jobs were put in according to your last name. And S had 2 shelves stacked full of jobs, and so I changed my name at the time to Quiffer, so I always went to the queues and was able to get my jobs quite quickly. This is the book from 69 and 70, the faculty of the engineering department, which was the beginning of the computer science department. And here you'll see some of the professors that I've had and I think have been around for some time, although 2 have just recently passed away. So here's Dick Kieberts, Dave Smith, Herb Galanter, and Jack Heller, Ken Short. Here is interesting. I found a cover sheet of a proposal that we gave to Professor Kieberts dated February 1971. And you see here the group, we, Richard Huber, who I believe is with us here today, Dave Schiffer, that's me, and Ben Schneiderman, who is a renowned, recently retired professor from the University of Maryland and an expert on visualization and several other things. Just as a side note, my first job after getting my master's at Stony Brook was getting a job with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey in 1973. And I was the first one in the whole Port Authority to get this IBM Selectrix typewriter, which was a terminal. It had an electronics board underneath it, and this allowed me to communicate directly with the mainframe without having to go back to those punch cards. The typing mechanism was what was called a golf ball, an IBM golf ball. And at the time, Michael Crichton, who you might know is the author of Jurassic Park and other famous novels, he had written a book back then called The Terminal Man, and someone took the cover of his book and put it on my cubicle. Then, I made many trips back to Stony Brook for different reasons. 1997, my son made a independent film called Strong Island Boys, and he won an award for first-time director. There was a ceremony with Cliff Robertson, who was a famous actor. He's passed away, but he was a famous actor at the time. And my son wasn't available. He was at a wedding, out-of-town wedding. So I accepted the award on his behalf. And I said I'd been to school at Stony Brook for 6 years and never won an award. And I was very happy to accept an award on behalf of my son. Then one of the next times we returned to Stony Brook was for the CS35 reunion. Interesting. Well, I don't know why they picked that number, but we had a reunion 35 years in 2005. And you can see here Dick Kieberts, Jack Heller, and Arthur Bernstein, 3 of the professors. These are just 2 other pictures. On the left, standing next to me, is Ari Kaufman, who was the chairman of the computer science department at that time and the inventor of the virtual colonoscopy. Here you see Herb Galanter again at the reunion. He was a pioneer of artificial intelligence. He did a geometry proving machine in 1962. And interestingly enough, here's his son next to him, David Galanter, who is a Yale professor, a columnist, and had the unfortunate distinction of being one of the early victims of the Unabomber. And he wrote a book, Drawing Life, Surviving the Unabomber. At the reunion, we had some very interesting presentations by some of my old friends, Nasi and Schneiderman, and also Barbara Simons, who is a computer scientist who prefers paper. And her discussion back in 2005 was all about voter fraud, which obviously is a main topic of a discussion today. Hers was more about hacking into voter machines rather than influencing votes. When I had brunch with Ari Kaufman a few weeks later, we were talking about this presentation, and he said, "Do you know who she is?" I said, "Absolutely not." He said, "Well, she's the ex-wife or the former wife of Jim Simons," and we'll get to him in a little while, and I'm sure everybody at Stony Brook knows about Jim Simons. So here's just a list of department chairs of the computer science department, and I had very fortunate to have 3 of these chairs as professors, and then Ari Kaufman as someone I met at the reunion. The same year, 2005, we also had a reunion in Madison Square Garden for a basketball team. Herb Brown was coaching a professional team, and he came to the city, and we had a little cocktail party up in Madison Square Garden. And as you can see here, this is my Stony Brook practice jersey from the 60s. And in fact, I had the whole outfit. I even had my practice shorts I took to the reunion. The mid-2000s, I was working at a company called Safe Banking System with my son, and one of our jobs was KYC, Know Your Customer, and we were dealing with large databases of customer databases at banks. For example, one bank had 100 million customers, and then lists of bad guys, sanctioned entities, and politically exposed persons and fraudsters. And we had to find them, and really it was a deduping process. One of the things that we needed to find was a better way to risk rank the large databases of bad guys, so that if they became a candidate for reviewing, what really was their risk. And so my son read the Google page ranking thesis about ranking web pages. Page and Brin's page ranking thesis, and Google's thesis is based on how many links does each web page have into it. And we use this concept of a database with people and entities that they're linked to use that as a proxy for risk or exposure. And we call this the exposure factor. And you see here, this is really just, when we get it down to the mathematics of it all, is just solving for the eigenvector of a stochastic matrix. Now, to do that, we came back to Stony Brook. We did a little research, found Steve Scienna as well known in computational analysis, and we used him as a mentor for a few months. And it turned out that a year or two later, he wrote a book himself called Who's Bigger? And he used this Google concept of ranking to find out historical figures, how they really rank. That was pretty interesting. Okay, then I came back to Stony Brook in 2014. So I'd been on the varsity for my undergraduate years, and we had an old-fashioned scoreboard, never saw my names in lights. My grandson had a birthday party at Stony Brook, took a few kids to one of the games, and I finally saw my name in lights, Radar Schiffer. Then a year later, I went out to New Jersey to a dinner honoring Herb Brown, our coach. And what did I bring him? Of course, a Stony Brook basketball shirt. And another time we returned to Stony Brook was for our 50th reunion. I'm in the middle there of the picture. And on the screen, they had nice portraits and descriptions of each of the alums who attended. And there's my little snapshot. I hope you enjoyed your walk down memory lane. Before we start the hackathon, just a few words about the challenges of this virtual hackathon, more so than a regular, just plain 24-hour all-nighter. I mean, how do you wake up your friend at midnight? How do you give him a kick over virtual system? I hope that you have determined a team leader, that you have a plan of attack, that you define the problem, define what your parameters are, what's given, what the tasks are, delegate the tasks to different people, come back a few hours later, put it all together, and start testing. But most of all, enjoy this hackathon. Have fun, collaborate, work together virtually, and we'll see you in 24 hours. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Shafiq Fazal, Interim Dean of SBU Libraries. I would like to begin by wishing you, your families and loved ones, the very best for health and safety during these difficult times. Welcome to SBU Hacks 2020, our third year of Hackfest and going strong as ever. This year, despite the challenges due to the pandemic, I will say with more emphasis than ever that the tradition of SBU Hackfest continues. A warm welcome from your friends and colleagues at the library.
Hey everyone, my name's Peter from Major League Hacking, and I'm super excited to help out with SBU Hacks this weekend. Really quick before I jump into things, I just want to invite you all to follow us on social media so that you can stay up to date with current and future Major League Hacking events. Additionally, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and social media if you have any questions for me personally. So I'm about to cover a ton of information, but basically everything that you need to know can be found at hack.mlh.io. I'll be sure to put a link in the Discord along with all the other useful resources that MLH will be providing this weekend after the opening presentation. So what is Major League Hacking? Many of you may not have heard of us before. Major League Hacking is the global hacker community, which means that it's our mission to empower hackers, which is you. Just by attending this event, you're participating in a community of over 130,000 student hackers across 250 member events throughout the world, spanning from North America to Europe and now even the Asian Pacific region as well. You're also earning points for your school, which count towards our season-long rankings and contests. The natural question that follows is, what's the best way to earn points? Well, get more folks from your community involved and come out to more events. So what can you expect from Major League Hacking during SBU Hacks this weekend? Well, for starters, I'll be running a no-light mini event later this evening where we'll try to recreate a popular website from scratch in just under an hour. Keep your eyes peeled for a link to participate that I'll send out closer towards the event. The next day, I'll be running a series of capture the flag style challenges that we'll walk through as a group. Everyone can learn something and participate, of course, and folks who complete all the challenges will be entered into a raffle to win some cool prizes. And if at any point in time you feel compelled to draw an Octocat, and I mean, who wouldn't? Just look at that thing. Well, you can tweet your own artistic rendition to @GitHub Education using the hashtags MyOctoCat and SBU Hacks for a chance to win a physical Octocat statue. You can snag the GitHub Student Developer Pack and Starter Kits, which provide free access to some of the best developer tools and step-by-step tutorials on how to use them all in one centralized repository. No pun intended. That includes stuff like free AWS credit, Heroku Cloud App Management, and free subscriptions to many other educational resources. Additionally, Major League Hacking has partnered with several companies in order to equip you with the tools and resources that you need for success. You can show off your project live with a free .space, .tech, or .online domain with 1 year of free domain privacy if you use the code YELLOWLEAVES. You can elevate your project by using the code you received via email to redeem up to $100, that's right, $100 of credit towards any of the tools provided by the Google Cloud, such as image recognition, machine learning, cloud computing, and website hosting. Additionally, each time you go to a new hackathon, you'll get more credits and they'll stack on top of each other. We'll be running a prize for the best project that incorporates Google Cloud into your hack this weekend, and any COVID-19 related projects will have the chance to win $5,000 in Google Cloud credits for further development. Along with the GitHub Student Starter Packs, we have a bunch of our own starter kits that will accelerate your dev journey this weekend, which can be found at hackpack.com/learn. So if you incorporate any of the aforementioned partnered resources in your hack, you'll be considered for some of these awesome prizes. All these will be listed on the dev post, and you can hit me up on Discord if you have any questions about the criteria. With hackathons becoming more and more accessible due to the online format that we've adopted to, my goals this season are to maximize the amount of project demonstrations for all participants. And by doing so, you'll receive one of these awesome event-specific I demoed stickers, which is just some extra clout that you can throw onto your laptop or your calculator if you're a nerd like me. If you demo, you'll receive a form to fill out some shipping information to receive stickers and swag for this event. Now, we know that many of you are on the job hunt, and hackathons are a great place to showcase your talents, which is why we put together the MLH Career Lab, which is designed to connect you with companies that specifically want to recruit hackers. This includes companies like Carfax, Capital One, BNY Mellon, and more. On a serious note, I want to stress that Major League Hacking events are a safe space for everyone. By participating in this event, you're agreeing to the MLH Code of Conduct, which is linked on the screen right now. If you haven't read it yet, please take the time to do so. The bottom line is that everyone needs to be respectful. Harassment and abuse will not be tolerated. If you're having an issue, please contact myself and or the organizers, and we'll make sure that your issue gets resolved as quickly as possible. If we're unavailable for whatever reason, or if you're uncomfortable reaching out directly, we totally understand, and you can email incidents@mlh.io or call the phone number that's listed on the screen. We want you to have an amazing time this weekend, and these guidelines are just designed to maintain a safe and positive atmosphere. With that being said, huge thanks again to all of our partners who helped make your hackathon experience superb, and with that, I'll kick it back to the organizers. Happy hacking!
On behalf of the Career Center at Stony Brook University, it is my pleasure to welcome you to SBU Hacks 2020, powered by the Schiffer Family Foundation. We look forward to seeing what you produce over the next 24 hours. And remember, for any of your career-related needs, know that the Career Center is here for you virtually all semester. Best of luck to you, hackers!